Hello and welcome back. It's TCR UK. It is round 13. Unlucky for some. Andy McEwen, wait, move your car. Jesus Christ, teenagers. Actually, he's got a good chance today, isn't he? On the second row.
Yeah, I think so. Young Alex could get his fourth win. I mean, you'd think he'd share him around a bit, but yeah, he's on a bit of a winning streak and clearly keen to get to the front of the grid.
Yeah, definitely. Also, near the front of the grid, kind of. Actually, where are you starting, Jack?
7th.
That's a bit rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, thanks, mate.
I didn't really speak to you, but first race was all right?
Yeah, all right, yeah. P4, just steady away.
Any problems?
No, small cutout problem at the start, but other than that, we're fine.
There's a few people actually. Lewis Kent will be desperate to have a good old weekend here. Dave, you obviously know them boys. I caught you talking to him before.
Yeah.
Have you ever known anyone have so much bad luck as that team in general?
I mean, Brad's had a fair amount. Yeah, I know. I've not seen it as bad as what they've had this season. He makes my season look good, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. I remember you having a nightmare last year, actually. You had like power steering and electrical and all sorts.
Yeah, we're kind of into our second year of that, to be fair, but we're getting through that.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. That was nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing. Andy McEwen, what do you think we're going to get in this one? Are we going to get... Tonks, he looked quick, actually, in that last race, didn't he? Where he was, his car looked pretty quick. I think Lewis might be reversing in here, actually.
We're picking all the best places to stand here, aren't we? I think we're in for a lively race. The first race was a bit pedestrian at times. I think everyone was just sort of minding their P's and Q's, but reverse grid race, touring cars, championship on the line, it's all going to kick off now. I spoke to Isaac Smith in the break between races. He is fired up. He is really confident that he can go for a race win here. And he needs to, really, because Chris Smiley's taken some good points out of him so far.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Isaac Smith. That noise, if you can hear it, there's a drift championship going on where they seem to just want to burn the most they can out of tyres and fuel, and it's just the noisy. And the best thing about this is they'll do a noise test for these cars, which I can't even hear when they start up, but then they'll let them things go around at like 6,000 decibels. I can't even hear the 747 jumbos going across the top. It's a strange place, actually, Donington, isn't it? With an airport next to it, East Midlands, and noise is a problem at circuits, but I don't know the logic behind some of the noise testing.
Yeah, thankfully that's not my job to decipher either. I mean, it is the benefit of that is that we can race quite late into the day here at Donington, which we really made the most of last year, if you remember. We had quite a long delay. I think we left here at 8:30 at night or something. So fingers crossed, no similar delays today, but a great place to come racing. And you know, the drivers love this place. Fans love it as well. You mentioned actually some of the spectator areas that they can come and watch from. There are some brilliant vantage points here at Donington Park. You have to wrap up on a windy day like this, but it might just be one of the best tracks to come and watch today's racing at.
Yeah, I don't actually get to go to Donington that much and watch racing live because I'm usually working, but like, you know, for fans who are here or would come to Donington Park, they've actually done some really cool things actually here in the last few years, and you get a good vantage point from like Craner Curves, 5th and 6th gear, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's such a spectacular place to watch the cars as well. They're moving around so much, especially if it's a Hyundai, it seems today, really dancing around down the hill. And yeah, you know, since the place was taken over by Mr. P and Motorsport Vision, they've done a great job. The circuit's never looked better. The facilities are being improved all the time, and that's being shown, I think, by the number of people who are coming to the events. There are more people here this year than we had last year for this event, I think, and that's kind of the same across the board, which is really nice to see in the current climate, people still coming out and supporting motorsport.
It is nice to see people just enjoying themselves, isn't it, and having a bit of a good time. Interesting to see Tonksy there speaking with Isaac Smith. They will be, I think, on the same row from what I remember. So those two boys having a little chat as those two pesky drift cars come past. I mean, that still just looks mad, doesn't it? Lewis Kent loving that, and he's actually got a bit more colour in his face. He's just said, I want to have a go of that. Actually, we'll just have a quick word. Andy, do you want to scoot off, mate? We'll let you go back to the comms box because Andy was out of breath last time, so he should know how hard it is. I hate pestering drivers, mate, because I know you're always trying to just get things done and, you know, just focus on stuff. But you looked proper grey before, mate. Was it a problem in the race? You look a lot better now.
No, it was not too bad actually. I got probably one of the best starts I've ever had in my life. Made about 4 cars into turn 1. Yeah, it's sorting. I'm just ibuprofened up at the moment trying to get through the day, but yeah, no, we're not too bad. Had quite quite good pace in that race actually, so stuck it up there, sent it up to about 6th. So yeah, not a bad first race for us. Reverse grid now, we're again, as you say, we're starting up a bit higher, so we'll have to see how it goes. Hopefully we find a bit more pace, and it's always the second race that I'm usually quicker in, so fingers crossed it all goes all right.
How's your bro?
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He did a bit of a stupid idea to chuck himself off the track, but motorsport, innit? It's racing. He's probably one of the best little brothers I could ask for, purely because as soon as he got alongside Isaac, that was it. It was defend all the way and don't let him come anywhere near me. So, yeah, no, he did a top job in that last race, and hopefully if he can do it again in this race, that'd be perfect.
Job will be a good one, mate. Well, listen, I'll let you chill. You crack on. Let's go and have a little word, because this front row might be quite cool, and I know that, actually, let's quickly speak to Tonksy. Getting in here early doors, mate. What you messing with there? What's that?
The camera.
Oh, where's the camera? Ah, is that a judicial one?
Yeah.
So everyone has to have a camera forwards and backwards?
I don't believe everyone has to have one forward and backwards, but you do have to carry a decent HD camera, obviously. If the clerk of the course wants to see it, then you have to provide it. I've also got one that links into the data, so we can see what I am doing right or wrong.
Yeah. I know you're trying to get changed and get cracked on. I will ask you one more question. Why are you in the car so early, mate? Just want to focus?
Yeah, I want to get myself ready. I had a pretty pants start the last race, so I just want to make sure we get off the line well and see what we can do from there. All
right, mate. Listen, you go. It's all good. All good. Right, just let's speak to Matt. I know Matt, he just hates it, but you shouldn't be that good. Do you know what I mean? You're that good. You're on pole?
Second.
Who's on pole?
Andy Wilmot.
Oh, yeah? So you're going to win?
Possibly, yeah. That's the go. I'm going to not pull off too quick either. I'm going to make sure I wait till the lights are out.
I don't blame you. No, you've got a good chance here, mate. And to be fair, obviously there's a lot of quick drivers behind you, but Andy Wilmot, every time I speak to him when he's on a pole or front row, that's the right thing to do, Andy. Just get all the grass on your tyres, mate. Your brand new tyres. Rip the splitter off. He's even got a passenger in the car as well, which is quite interesting. I mean, this is the weirdest touring car race I've ever been to, where I can't see the cars on the assembly grid because there's so much smoke. But yeah, no, this is it's a cool little front row. But every time I speak to him, he always says he's going to look at these lot. He says he's always going to start from the pit lane, because I think he gets a bit scared.
That's good then.
You're going to smoke him?
That's the plan. Get past him as soon as I can.
I like it. Right, I'll go and ask him actually. Watch this. Andy, are you going to start from the pit lane, or are you actually going to start from your grid position?
Just trying to work out my excuse now. I think I've got a bad back. In fact, I have.
You'll be all right, won't you?
Yeah. Well,
you look really confident.
Yeah. No, I'll be all right, I think. Well, it's about the start, isn't it? Because the Hyundais aren't great off the start, and I'm not the best starter. That's my excuse.
But the Hyundai's a good car.
It is a good car. I'm old, remember, so I should be down there.
I tell you what, mate, I've got more faith in you than you have in yourself, which is a bit silly. How are you anyway, Captain? I've seen you for a while.
That's been good.
Yeah? What, that I haven't seen you?
Yeah, exactly. You know it.
What's it like working with him?
He needs a lot of encouragement, as you can tell. He's a bit shy, a bit fragile in his old age.
He's just looking to win the Goodyear Diamond Trophy, isn't he?
What he doesn't realise, if he looks at his lap times, he's actually quick enough to stay up there and hold them off.
But that's what I find amazing, is that he is fast, but he always downplays it. Maybe that's just his little thing he does.
Yeah, I think it's his little comfort thing, giving himself an excuse. But he needs to go for it and try.
Exactly. We're not turning up for fun here.
Not at all. Not at all.
I just realised how much it's costing me. So hang on a minute. I'm gonna. It's gonna be. No, I'm not going to say the wrong word. Can I say? It's balls out.
You're fine. You can say that.
Oh, all right, yeah. That one then. Yeah, balls out.
Footballs.
Exactly. Anyway, on that note, I'll leave you to it. Bye. Apologies for anybody. It's not Sunday, is it? No, you can say what you want. It's Monday. Yeah, you're fine. Isaac, you're cool, mate. What's happened here? Looks like you've had a big moment already and you haven't even got to the grid.
Yeah, we had a little one coming in.
Championship has got it, mate. It's got to be still on. You're a bit frustrated from that first race or not?
Yeah, well, we can use it as a drop score, really, so it's not the end of the world. It's just, I'm going to keep pushing forward as we always do. We'll see what happens.
You tried a few cheeky around the outside moves, which we always know you will do. Did you get the respect from the other drivers?
Don't think so, as you'll have seen. Well, we lost a left rear of the bloody car, so it wasn't the greatest.
But we go again.
Exactly, and I think we've got a good shot here of going forward. So hopefully, can actually win a race for once.
Well, yeah, but it's a bit warm. I'd love to see you do that, mate. But that's not what it's about, though, is it? You just got to crack on and see what the points is at the end of the year.
Yeah, exactly. We're after points rather than dangerous moves at the end of the day. That's why I expected a little bit more respect from what we got earlier, but we can't really help that, can we?
Well, I think people will know where they stand. That's happened now, I suppose. So good luck, mate. Good luck. Let's go and speak to some people we haven't spoken to, actually. Actually, not really spoke to Alex. Alex, I love it when drivers just are like, oh, come on, mate, don't even speak to me. Just a quick one, Al. You've won more races than anybody on planet Earth, mate, in TCR UK. So all good? Happy race one?
Yeah, really good. Got some good points, 5th place, so I can't be not happy with that. So, yeah.
Your car always looks leery, but I've got to say, in general, the Hyundais do look quite nervous, especially on the brakes, but apparently your dad was telling me that you just love that anyway.
Yeah, it is really cool. So, yeah, I like it.
Can I have a go at your car sometime?
Yeah.
Good lad. Nice one. We'll leave it at that. Cheers, boss. Good luck. Give it the big one. I love how his dad was like, he's not having a go with this car. Chris, you're getting involved. Points finish, or are we going to see a podium?
What's that?
Points finish, or are we going to see a podium?
Both, hopefully.
Top man, leave it at that. Let's get to speak to, well, Adam's already in the car. He's ready to go. Ads, have you recovered from that race win?
Yeah, we were very lucky actually. Our fortunes changed because the bolt snap that hold the bottom ball joint in, so it was just resting in. There was no nut on it, so that was what the bang was.
No way, on the left front?
Yeah, left front, yeah. So it was just a bolt resting in. So every time I broke, it was the wheel was towing in and out with no nut on the bottom of the bolt.
Oh my God, mate, that is. Do you know what? I think your look's changed now. So another race win then.
Fingers crossed. You got to go for it, haven't you?
Top man. Stay focused, fella. Good luck. Amazing. That's great news. Really good news. Right, I'm getting wolf whistled here. It's 2022. Is that you wolf whistling? You can't. I know my legs are great, aren't they? You can't wolf whistle these days. It's 2022. It's just something we don't do anymore. But if you really do feel like that, I'll give you my number later. Guys, what's going on? Oh my God, give me a hug. You've had a bad day, haven't you, mate?
You're right.
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm actually not too bad. I thoroughly enjoyed race one, even though it didn't go great, and I threw myself into the gravel. I still enjoyed it. It's good fun.
We didn't quite see that. What happened?
Basically, I got up behind Lewis. I'd overtaken Isaac, and then I actually created a little bit of a gap. I've come up behind Lewis. He's kicked up a load of dirt going through the right-hander, and I've just hit the dirt, and it's just washed me out wide. And then I just flew way back to the back of the grid. So I think I came back from about 13th, 14th to finish 11th, which I wanted to finish 10th ideally because I had a reverse grid pole.
Lewis was pinging track limits then if he's flicking dirt all over the
No.
That's what you just said.
Bruce Winfield. That's lovely, that, mate. Yeah, good luck with your podium. Right, the guys are getting in the car. Just one quick thing. I just want to get in the car, fella. Get yourself in there, George. But I just want to say this boy turning up on his podium, on his debut today, has done absolutely awesome. Are we going forward?
Going to lick the stamp and send it.
He is going to lick the stamp and send it. Right, hopefully Andy's in the comms box, but I think we'll have a little advert break first of all. See you in a bit.
For voice and data solutions at speeds that are simply out of this world, choose Maximum Networks.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Donington Park, where round number 13 of the TCR UK Championship for 2022 is only, hopefully, a few minutes away here from Donington, where we've already had one very interesting first race, but I think that the gloves are well and truly going to come off now in this reversed grid second race, the 13th round of the championship. And lucky for some, hopefully not for any of our championship hopefuls, who will all be looking to try and maximise their points opportunity. Andy McEwen here in the commentary box. Paul O'Neill is navigating his way across the circuit to the commentary box from the assembly area, where he's just been catching up with a lot of the drivers. The 3.1 kilometre Donington Park National Circuit in use here today, and as we saw in the first race, it can be tricky to overtake around here, but once you do get a bit of side-by-side racing, it all really kicks off, and you get, particularly in reverse grid races, a real stack-up effect, which can certainly spice things up. Weather conditions have remained more or less unchanged throughout the day. I'd say it's a bit warmer now, although that might just be all the running around I've done this afternoon. Certainly the threat of rain that we had earlier on seems to have lifted ever so slightly. We do have clouds, we do have particularly dark clouds actually off into the distance, but they are not as close as they were for that first race, where we avoided a downpour literally just as the race finished. As the cars were coming around on their in-lap to the pit lane after the race, the heavens opened. We timed that absolutely perfectly. We'll be hoping that we can have another dry race here. I'm struggling to remember the last time we did have a wet race in TCR UK. It would have been a couple of years ago, I reckon. I remember a particularly soggy day at Alton Park back in 2020, but no such repeat of those inclement conditions here this afternoon. Now, the race we had earlier on today was, if you didn't see it, it was won in the end by Adam Shepherd, who finally got his first victory in the championship. Became the 21st different driver to win a TCR UK race, having already set the fastest ever qualifying lap in TCR UK earlier on today. He'll be now trying to repeat what Max Hart did here on the Grand Prix circuit earlier on this season, when Max became the only driver to do the clean sweep and win both races, or indeed win more than one race in the same event. And I reckon Adam Shepherd might just have half a chance if he gets a good start here, starting from 10th on the grid, of course, but if he gets off the line well, might just be able to make some moves. He is making moves in the championship, though, because he has now moved himself, once the dropped scores are applied, up into 4th place in the championship. Remember, this is the final race of the season that they are able to use as a dropped score. After Donington, we head to Snetterton on the 200 circuit in October. A bit of a break before that final round on the 23rd of October, but you can't drop either of those two races, so this is your last chance to have a bit of bad luck and it not be the end of the world. Once those drop scores are applied, Chris Smiley is the championship leader. I've got him on 312 points, as opposed to 294 now for Isaac Smith. So coming into the weekend, they were only 4 points apart. Suddenly, it's an 18-point advantage for Chris Smiley, because he outscored Isaac by 12 points in that first race, plus he took 5 points out of him in the qualifying session earlier on today. So 312 for Smiley, 294 for Isaac Smith. Then you go back into the 250s, 258 for Bruce Winfield, who has slowly but surely moved his way up the order, now 3rd in the championship. He's 4 points then ahead of Adam Shepherd on 254. So Shepherd with his first victory, his 4th podium of the season, all of them coming in the last 4 events, moving him into P4 in the points. And he is then 8 points ahead of the double reigning champion Lewis Kent, who is 5th on 246, 232 for Alex Lee in 6th. The Max Hart, 7th in the championship now, having dominated the first third of the season. He finds himself out of the top half dozen in the points now after Paul O'Neill, his 5th retirement in a row. That is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me actually.
Just about, yes. You're a bit quieter than you were.
Sorry. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, it's a very difficult situation, isn't it? I think that you know, 5 DNFs in a row is just so horrible, and the team works so hard as well.
Yeah.
We know that, and it must be such a bitter pill to swallow. And you know, do you want to turn up? That's sometimes the thing. If you're out the question, then that's a real shame, isn't it? So yeah, we'll see what happens anyway, and I'm sure he just wants to get on with it and fight.
I spoke to him actually 20 minutes or so ago, and he was actually in pretty good spirits. I think he's kind of accepted now that it is what it is. He can't change anything. It's not going to be his year. But, you know, there are 3 races left this season. He could go and get some more trophies. And you know, he's a young driver with a bright future ahead of him. Every chance he gets to go out on the track and advertise himself as a young up-and-coming professional driver, he's going to take. So, I mean, he's looking forward, he said, to coming from the back. He's starting alongside his teammate, Ant-Walt-Niels, I think, from the back of the grid. And, yeah, he was in surprisingly good spirits, actually, was Max Hart. Probably better spirits than I've seen him in a while, because, in a way, the pressure's lifted now. You know, it's not going to be his year for the championship, and he can just relax into a little bit. And he could still get into the top 3 or 4 in the points. It's not the kind of result he wanted, but that little group we've got of Winfield, Shepherd, Lewis Kent, Alex Lee, Max Hart, all within 25 points or so of each other for 3rd place. Now, I know the drivers all come into the start of the season wanting to be the champion, but when you realise you can't really be the champion, it's then about finishing as far up the order as possible. I'm sure each and every one of those drivers I just listed will be wanting that 3rd place.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the thing, that, you know, there's still so much on offer. It is just a bit of a shame that some people find themselves out of the running for the championship when really they're good enough to be in the championship. So yeah, it is a shame. The cars have been released and they're going on to their warm-up lap now. You can see the weaving that takes place in these TCR cars. The front tyres just trying to get so much heat in them so they can put them on the rear of the car when they get to the dummy grid. And yeah, it is. It's hard work. I always say to drivers when I'm trying to tell them and coach them in front-wheel drive touring cars is that you should be out of breath on the green flag lap, because you should be steering that hard to get the temperature through the tyres and into the carcass. That's where you should be. And yeah, it's one of the most exhilarating parts of driving a race car, because the rear's trying to come round and you're even at like 4 miles an hour like they're doing.
And it's not unheard of for drivers to actually lose control, even at these really low speeds, because those rear tyres are so cold. It's not the warmest of days here at Donington today, and you can see the cars snapping sideways a little bit there. Not a great day for Jam Sport so far with Max Hart and Ant-Walt-Niels issues, but they do have a bit of a silver lining for me here, don't they? And Andy Wilmot, who I made the joke to the team earlier on that he's becoming a proper little touring car driver now, as Andy Wilmot. He's always been a good driver. But this second half of the season, he's really gelled with that Hyundai, came from the back of the grid to finish 10th place, won the Goodyear Diamond Trophy again, and now his reward is a race 2 pole position. Now, we saw at Alton Park he was up near the front in the reverse grid race, not afraid to get stuck in. I'm expecting the same today.
Yeah, I would. You know, this track I think will suit him more. Now he knows that he can go forward, like he already has come from the back of the grid to get 10th. There's no reason why he can't have an outright podium here, and it'll be good to see. And Matthew Wilson is somebody that I want to see do really well from his disappointment at Castle Coombe and the penalty when running so high on the actual track. So we'll see what goes on there. Darryl Wilson was just going through the shot as well. He's had all sorts of drive shaft problems. And other problems with pit lane procedure as well. He got a penalty, I think, in that first race. I was just told about earlier on. But yeah, Ant-Walt-Niels is out there just going through in the Subaru, which is a good thing. And yeah, and there you go. And there's a Gen 1 Audi TCR car as well that Darren Wilson seems to be enjoying himself. Lots of people on the grid, lots of team members, lots of media, and that's a nice sight. That's what we want to see. TCR is looking strong in the UK.
It really is. It's the future, as some strange Brummy fella keeps telling me whenever I see him in the paddock. Stuart Lyons, you know, we joke about Stuart because he's an easy target, but he has done a really good job this year. He and Nicky Lyons, who put these events together and who have assembled this grid now, you know, of 20 plus cars all season long. It has been the most competitive season so far, the most fun season so far for me, certainly to be involved in, having been here since the very start. I mean, I was looking back on my stats spreadsheet earlier on today, and there were races back in 2019 where we had 3 cars on the grid, and here we are now with 23 hopefully lining up for this race, and such a competitive year as well. We've had 9 different winners now. That is a new record. It beats last year's record of 8 different winners, and there are more who could join that list. We could easily get into double figures of race winners by the end of the season. Not many championships can say that.
No, not at all. And I just think it shows the strength and the depth. I mean, look at Matt Wilson. That's a new car to the grid this year. You know, there's a lot of regions of TCR that don't have these cars, and you know, it's great that the UK is one of the first ones to have some of these brand new cars. The manufacturers are interested. Hyundai have turned up, Honda have turned up. You know, there's a lot going on, and it's still good to see. And some of the cars that maybe not the newest, Jamie Tonks in front of us here, that they're still able to compete. It makes it worth your while getting involved, and it's competitive. Look, the Golf there. I mean, that is an oldish car, but look at it. It's fighting for the championship in the hands of Isaac Smith.
And Isaac, at any opportunity that he gets, will tell you that car isn't competitive anymore. I'm sorry, Isaac. I don't agree with you, because that Golf is, as you said, second in the championship. Okay, lacking a bit of raw pace here this weekend, but that's the way that balanced performance and compensation weight and things like that work out. I think he's going to be really gunning for at least a podium here. Could this be Isaac's day to finally get that first victory? I mean, it's crazy to think that he hasn't actually won a race yet.
No, it isn't that madness. He
Yeah.
just reminded me of that when I was on the assembly walk. So yeah, but that boy there's won some races. Alex Lee has been an absolute revelation. He has an absolute revelation. One of the kids to watch out for, whatever he does in the future, whether he wins this championship sometime or goes on to other things. He's definitely going to be somebody that I keep an eye on, because what's going on there? There's something's getting cooled down though. Is that where the turbo is? I wouldn't be putting my hands down there if it was the turbo on that side. Something's coming out of one of the catch tanks. That's interesting. So that looks like, well, that's where the coolant goes, and that's a PMR car, isn't it? That's Charlie there with the blonde hair.
It's Jack's car, isn't it?
It's Jack Constable's car, yeah. So Martin Broadhurst just talking to him, the team manager. And I'm just going to try and listen in. Right, okay, sounds like he's got an engine overheating problem, and Martin was just saying to him, the team manager, if you get a high temperature on the dashboard, don't worry too much, but if it goes any higher than X, then you may have to bring it in. That's what I could maybe hear. So that's very interesting, because that car was something that I was looking at. They've got a problem with that car because they're putting so much cooling into it. Those blowers trying to cool things. It looks like the header tank had actually just spewed a bit of coolant out, so not good for Jack Constable, mate.
No, Jack Constable winner here last year, remember, in the second of the 3 races as we had at Donington Park at the end of the season. And yeah, Jack Constable with hopefully an issue that he can manage, due to start 7th on the grid. One car that we're not sure whether we will see, by the way, is the Brad Hutchison Audi. The team took the decision not to race in race 1 because they were getting a new engine, or an old engine, but a different engine, getting delivered from their home up in Halifax, I believe, all the way down to Donington Park. They got it here, they were fitting it. I spoke to them 20 minutes or so before they were called to the grid, and they weren't quite sure whether they were going to get that car out on the track. Now, it will probably be a pit lane starter anyway, even if they do get it out there, but let's hope that we can get Brad Hutchison out there, because we were expecting some good things from him. But still a great looking grid that we have got, with Andy Wilmot and Matthew Wilson on the front row. Wilson, another one here, Paul, who I'm intrigued to watch here, because I think he proved a bit of a point at Coombe last time. He's not going to get muscled out of the way at the start of these races anymore, and he'll have learnt a lot from that second race at Coombe last time.
Yeah, definitely. I'm all for this front row. I think this is going to be good, but it's the second row, and it's 1, 2, 3. Isaac Smith for me that's going to be the one to watch. But you're dead right. I think that Matty could really put a cat amongst the pigeons here, and I am so looking forward to this. The cars have been and had their tyres crossed, so the axles from the front have gone onto the rear, so they should have warmer rear tyres, so they should have a bit more grip, and you'll see them wheel spinning away. If you're here at Donington Park today, you'll see them wheel spinning away now and thinking, why are they wheel spinning so much? It's because those front tyres have been on the rear of the car, so they are cold.
Yes, indeed, and this is now all part of the balancing process, getting the tyre temperatures equal, more or less at least, across the front and the rear axle, so the car balances as you need it to, going into Redgate Corner for the first time. Right then, round number 13 of the championship. Let's remind you all how they're going to line up for this reversed grid race. Remember, we take the top 10 finishers from race 1 and we turn them upside down in the running order to give us the grid, and it gives us a front row of Andy Wilmot looking for his first victory in the championship. The same is true of Matthew Wilson starting alongside him. Jamie Tonks was a winner earlier on in the season at Donington Park, but he's got Isaac Smith alongside him. Again, a man winless so far this season, and indeed in his TCR UK career. Then Lewis Kent and Alex Lee, the double reigning champion, starts 5th. Alex Lee, the winningest driver so far this season, starting alongside him on row 3. 4th row of the grid then for Jack Constable. Hopefully not a major issue to that Power Max Racing Cooper. The championship leader, Chris Smiley, now 18 points to the good, but starting 8th on the grid, 4 places behind his championship rival Isaac Smith. Bruce Winfield and Adam Shepherd, the top 2 from race 1, will round out the top 10, ahead of Bradley Kent, who I think could make some good moves from 11th, and Russell Joyce, who starts alongside him. Row 7 then for Darren Lewis with George Healer in his Golf. Then it's Neil Trotter and Chris Wallace with Steve Gales and Mark Smith on the 9th row of the grid together. And then we get another group of quick drivers. Max Hart in the Jamsport Hyundai, 19th after his 5th non-finish in a row. Callum Newsham retired to the pits late in race 1-2. He will start 20th alongside just ahead of the Jamsport Subaru of Antwort Neil. Scott Sumpton, we believe, will be a non-starter after his part in the first corner collision earlier on. Daryl Wilson hopefully has got the Astra sorted and will be starting from 23rd, and likewise Brad Hutchison's Audi, if they got that engine change done in time, will start probably from the pit lane, with Jess Hawkins due to be the last of the starters, but she's had some electronic issues all day long. So cars out on their green flag lap then. I'm going to put you on the spot, Paul. Who do you think is going to grab this race win? I really think we're going to get a new winner.
Smith. Isaac Smith, 1, 2, 3. I think that Golf is going to come to the fore, and he'll get it done as quick as he can. I think, I just think he needs to do this, and I think he will.
Yeah, asked him at Coombe actually last time, do you think it will take a race win to win the championship? At the time he said yes. I actually disagreed. I said no, I think you can do it on pure consistency, but now things have changed. Chris Smiley really putting the pressure on, pulling a nice little lead in the championship, and Isaac Smith needs to try and maximise his opportunity here from 4th on the grid. And I agree with you, Paul. I think it's the early laps that are key. He needs to get through to the front, make an escape, because there are some seriously quick drivers coming from further back.
Yeah, definitely. Chris Smiley will be on the back of him. Alex Lee, they've already quick people behind him, but yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Wilmot and Wilson, but now we're coming to the crunchy end of the season. There's going to be a few more chances taken, I think.
Right then, strap yourselves in everyone, take a step back, because this is round number 13 of the TCR UK Championship. Daryl Wilson's Astra just pulling up at the back of the grid, so we did get the Vauxhall Astra out on track, and that means we're ready to go racing then, waiting for the green flag to be waved at the back of the grid. Then the lights will go red, and we will get into the starting procedure then. Bit of a hold up here for some reason in getting that green flag waved at the back. Not sure if somebody has stopped out on track on the warm-up lap, but this is definitely a long hole. We haven't yet had a green flag at the back of the grid, so now it gets waved. Not quite sure what the hold-up was, but we are going to go racing for 25 minutes then. Round number 13 of the TCR UK Championship. Andy Wilmot and Matthew Wilson on the front row of the grid together. The red lights go out. Now away we go, and it's a very good start by Isaac Smith from 4th on the grid. Isaac Smith gets himself ahead of Jamie Tonks, gets up the inside of Matthew Wilson as well, and heads towards the first corner, already into 2nd position. Isaac Smith making the early moves. Lewis Kent trying to go with him. They're 4 wide further back, and Shepherd is tagged into Chris Smiley. The championship leader is in the gravel trap. He digs himself out.
He's broken.
He's not
broken.
damaged. Smiley with damage to the rear suspension. That is huge.
Oh, he's broken. Look at that. And Russell Joyce off as well in sympathy, but he's broken. It looked like the car was crabbing. And as he got going, what's happened to Smiley? Where is he? No, he's dropping back. He's broken. He's broken.
That's game over surely for Chris Smiley. Now remember, he already has a non-finish at Brands Hatch. He had a 3-point score that he was dropping from here at Donington earlier on. This is going to be another 0, and this could be huge for his championship hopes. Isaac Smith into 2nd place will be rubbing his hands with glee. What a messy start it was. Wilmot leads, Smith 2nd, Lewis Kent 3rd, Constable there in 4th. Further back, Max Hart at the inside of Adam Shepherd, who was tagged into that slide that then collected Chris Smiley. I wouldn't mind seeing that first corner again if we get a moment to breathe. That was a really, really dramatic start to the race though, and it has well and truly shuffled the order.
Yeah, it really has, and Shepherd still in the 117 down the inside. Oh, and a big slide. But I'll tell you what, that was a real nightmare, and it looked like a right rear toe link that has been broken for Smiley, so game over. He'll be coming into the pits for sure.
And Walt Neal's, by the way, in the pits as well. I noticed he lost control on the straight at the start of the race. I didn't get a chance to mention that, but we'll try and get to the bottom of that if we can. Max Hart there hunting around on the inside of Neil Trotter. Will not lead the first lap then. Smith second, Lewis Kent third, Constable fourth, Matthew Wilson fifth, Alex Lee is in sixth position, seventh for Brad Kent, Winfield in eighth, Shepherd still ninth actually, still gained a place out of all of that, and Neil Trotter was inside the top 10 until Max Hart picked his pocket at the first corner. Chris Smiley's Honda is in the pit lane as Lewis Kent tries to defend third place.
And Tonks has dropped back massively as well. Yeah, Tonks down in 15th.
Yeah, had a lot of wheel spin, I noticed, on the line. Lewis Kent out wide, Constable into third place. That was made easier than it should have been.
Yeah, well, it's not even settling down yet, is it? Because Shepherd is still trying to get down the inside of people. On the inside of Winfield. Oh, contact! Winfield slides sideways. Well, and it was a lot of contact there, but it looks like the car's still straight and the positions don't change. But wow, that was quite a bit of contact that was, as they both understeered through Coppice Corner.
I just had a feeling there was something in the air ahead of this race. It wasn't just the smoke from the drifters that told me this was going to be a dramatic 25 minutes of racing. It has kicked off right from the word go. Matthew Wilson here then in fifth position, trying to keep Alex Lee behind, and these two did battle in the reverse grid race for the victory, of course, last time out at Castle Combe. I think maybe now just starting to settle down fractionally here in the early stages. Wilmot leading by 0.8 of a second. Callum Newsham is back in the pit lane. It's all going on, and Matt Wilson with a very wide line through the Crane of Curves.
Yeah, Matt Wilson had an awful start. I was watching his car, and he was about 3 seconds, maybe half a second too late as the red lights went out. Red lights go out now. Matt Wilson looks like he stopped, gets the car going. Loads of wheel spin for the 74 Tonks. Isaac Smith is too busy defending from Kent. So what happens to Smiley? Smiley's on the outside, 4 abreast, tries to turn in. So Tonks into the side of Shepherd, Shepherd into the rear of Smiley. That was a racing incident. Oh, and then look at that.
Same thing, 4 wide again.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to work, was it? So, yeah, big squeeze there. Now, speaking of a big squeeze, it's all changed again down at the chicane. Shepherd's gone round the outside of Winfield. That's for 8th. I think Alex Lee has dropped behind Brad Kent, actually. So, yeah, Alex Lee dropping down a position and Bradley Kent gaining one. This is a huge gaggle of cars, all really fighting over third place. Jack Constable all the way back to Max Hart. So that's third back to 10th in a long line. And that was the switchback of dreams from Max Hart to get past Winfield for 9th.
Wow, that was a brilliant move by Max Hart. He just switched that back perfectly. Another inch or two, and it would have absolutely nobbled him out of the way. Knobbling people out of the way. Matt Wilson runs wide. Matt Wilson got a problem as he loses 2 places down at the old hairpin. It looked like he just got on the dirty stuff, understeered, and tried to keep it off the grass, but he's still going.
Yeah, just left a bit too much room there, I think, really, for Brad Kent, and ended up getting on the dirty side of the road. And now again up at McLean's, he's handing these positions to Shepherd, Hart, and now Winfield at the inside as well. So Matt Wilson, unfortunately, started the lap in 5th. He will end it perhaps down in 10th position now, as they're about to come down into the chicane in a completely different order than they were in a lap ago. Meanwhile, Andy Wilmot, fastest lap of the race, just casually pulling away from Isaac Smith at the front of the field. A second was the margin at the start of the lap, and it's gone out again this time.
Wow. Wow. Tell you what, fair play. Look at that. What's happened to Shepherd? Shepherd started to slow. Shepherd's got cars either side of him. Max Hart on the right. They run down to Redgate. Bruce Winfield on the inside. Shepherd breaks early. Max Hart round the outside. Gets round the outside of Bruce Winfield as well. He'd already passed him before. And then Shepherd now is down the inside of Winfield as they go side by side again down the Crane of Curves. Gets the job done. Dust everywhere. Max Hart gets that position. Max Hart tries to get a gap.
Chris Smiley's car, by the way, heading back to the paddock. He is out of the race. 0 points for the championship leader then. We'll do the maths later. Right now, the racing is far too exciting to take our eyes off it. Max Hart, though, crucially getting himself through that pack, and that now puts him into 7th position. Hart for the podium is still on here. He's only a few seconds behind the podium places, and we've still got 19 1/4 minutes to go. Hart turns his way up through Coppice Corner. Cloud of dust kicked up in the face of Adam Shepherd, who's had a bit of a yo-yo race so far, but now seems to be coming to the fore. Tell you who also is having a really good under-the-radar performance here. Neil Trotter, 12th position, hanging on to this group.
Yeah, fair play to Neil. He was telling me before he just had a couple of problems with the suspension on the car on the run-up to this race, but they got that sorted, and now he really is running sweet as a nut, isn't he? He's in front of some good people, so it's all looking good. What's happened to Max Hart's got a puncher? No, Max Hart, is it a left rear failure? He's got a toe link go on the left rear, and that's it. Broken, game over again. Max Hart out of the race. He needs to slow that car down, otherwise he's going to turn 90 left in the barrier.
The lost foot. Oh, Lewis Kent as well. Oh, Matt Wilson's off. Matt Wilson is off. Contact with Darrell Wilson down the trainer curves. The barrier is coming up and the Cupra slams into the wall. It was all going on. Hart is out with damage. Lewis Kent's got damage as well. And now Matthew Wilson is out of the race as well. Darrell Wilson in the gravel at the old hairpin. This is almost guaranteed to be a safety car. This is disaster for Andy Wilmot. Darrell Wilson clambers out of the Astra. He is out of the race. So is Matthew Wilson. But what has happened to Lewis Kent? We saw Hart with damage, but Lewis was nowhere near him, so I don't think they've come together. We have got race front runners dropping like flies.
Absolutely bizarre. What on earth is going on? And everybody just running wide. And now we've got Darren Lewis into the back now. No contact, but up to the back of George Healer in the Golf. This looks like a tasty little battle, and this now could be a battle for the top 10. There's so many cars that are at the race now, keeping up with Jamie Tonks as well. So fair play to the debutant. He's doing a great job for the Paul Sheard Racing team.
Thought he lost it then, but a bit of a bobble over the curb, but managed to save it. Jack Constable, by the way, has caught Isaac Smith for second. That has championship implications, because with Smiley out of the race, Isaac really needs to maximise on this. If he can finish in second place, then that will move him back into the championship lead. So really important that Isaac tries to keep Jack Constable behind him. In fairness, third would also move him ahead, but he wants as many points as he can get out of this race. And second to third, the gap had come right down to just 4 tenths at the start of the lap. Andy Wilmot was 2 seconds up the road, and Bradley Kent, who is now in fourth. I couldn't begin to tell you how he's got into fourth place, but he has just set the fastest lap of the race. He's 4 seconds off the race leader, but he was half a second quicker than Wilmot on that lap.
Where is this safety car? There isn't anything going on track, which is great for us, but look at, oh, well, there you go. I mean, that's quite far out the way, but we've got marshals in the gravel trap helping out there. So what? Darrell Wilson down the inside of Matt Wilson, and I tell you what, he was lucky, because that used to just be a concrete wall, that Matt Wilson hitting the tyre barrier. That won't have caused massive amounts of damage, but it didn't used to be any tyres there, and I've seen people have a big one.
Oh, change for second. Constable ahead of Smith, and Brad Kent behind as well. Isaac is struggling a bit for pace here, isn't he? And, well, this is not terrible news for Chris Smiley. The fewer points Smith scores here, the better it is for the Irishman. But Isaac Smith's got to be disappointed with this. He had a nice gap over Jack Constable. That has disappeared, and Jack has now found a way past him.
Yeah, this is 16 minutes left. Can Andy Wilmot hold on? This is the absolute race of Andy Wilmot's life. He has got 3 of the better front-wheel drive drivers in the country hunting him down, and this is exceptional for Wilmot.
It really is, and the problem for him is that the people catching him have all got really good reasons to try and get past him. Brad Kent, I mean, I don't even need to document why he wants to win this race. Isaac Smith needs it for the championship. Jack Constable trying to fight for third place in the championship as well, and it looks like Constable's getting away from Isaac and perhaps starting to reel in the race leader, and I think it's only a matter of time here before Bradley Kent gets past Isaac Smith as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's any love lost between these two either, so this could be quite tasty. This headlights are on. Bradley Kent wants this position, but look at this big move. Smith having a look. He comes off the brakes. He's got to be careful. Yeah, he was just trying to show him his nose, but job not done. But that now brings Bradley Kent into position to try and attack him. That was an interesting move, that, because you need to get that done, because if you keep doing that, you're just going to bring the person behind you into it.
But Constable was way ahead of Isaac going into, I don't know what happened there. Suddenly Constable seemed to lose ground. It was quite a slow end to the lap, that for Jack. He was actually 2 tenths slower than the race leader. So I guess Jack had a mistake at the chicane, and that's what allowed Isaac and therefore Bradley Kent to close back in. The more these 3 battle, the better that is for Wilmot, who is now 2.3 seconds up the road from them. Constable second, Smith third, Brad Kent fourth, Alex Lee keeping himself clean in 5th, with Adam Shepherd catching him in 6th, Winfield Trotter 8th, Tonks 9th, and George Healer in the top 10 in his 2nd ever TCR UK race.
Wow. His 2nd ever sprint race. George Healer's 2nd ever sprint race. That is a great effort. Great stuff all through the field. This is exceptional from Andy Wilmot. But Isaac Smith in the middle of these 3 drivers now is the person that's got the most to do and to win here. So Chris Smiley's out, but he'll want to get past Constable, but I don't think the race win's going to be on, because there's too much battling that's going to take him away from it.
They've dropped another 4 tenths that time to the race leader Andy Wilmot. Matthew Wilson, by the way, is still in this race, would you believe? He is still on the lead lap, would you believe? So, I mean, thank goodness for Ectocell barriers. That did virtually no damage to the Cupra, and that is why we're not in the safety car, because Darrell Wilson's Astra is so far off the track at the old hairpin, and the Cupra is no longer at the side of the road at all. So that's why we're able to keep under green flag racing conditions. Jack Constable on this lap maybe just starting to stretch the advantage back over Isaac Smith in third position. And Isaac Smith then 30 championship points would be going his way as it stands. He was, how many did I say, 18 behind Chris Smiley coming into the race. And I know there's a long way to go in this one, Paul, but this is getting set up very, very nicely for the decider.
It is, but I'll tell you who's a worry for me, as in Isaac Smith's mindset, is Bradley Kent. Headlights ablaze. That to me says, mate, I want your place and I am coming for you. So there's a lot going on there, and Isaac's got to be careful. He doesn't want to be too close to Constable in front, because that will then make him have to move around and try to get past Constable. But Constable's pulled him a bit. Remember, Constable had that overheating problem or water leakage on the grid that it looked like to me. Martin Broadhurst was telling him something along the lines of, don't worry about the temperature if it doesn't go too high. That's what he's doing. He looks like he's got clean air and the car's driving away. So let's hope it all sticks together from PMR, because they deserve a result.
Brad Kent looking to the inside of Isaac Smith. Now, Isaac's not going to roll out of the way here, is he? He turned across the nose a bit there, Bradley Kent, but I'm actually surprised a bit it's taken Brad this long to get past Isaac, because he certainly looked a lot quicker than the Golf as he was closing in, but now he is right on the rear bumper of the 1-2-3 car. But Isaac placing the car well there and not overdriving the entry to the corner, which means he's not running wide on the apex and opening up the door on the exit.
This could be it, though. It is it. Oh, there's a little gap, and that's a great move from Bradley Kent, and he gets the job done ever so cleanly at Coppice, and Isaac just had no answer to that, but no answer to it. He's on the outside of him now as they come down to the chicane, but it's job done. That's a brilliant move, that is, from Bradley Kent. No contact, tighter line, beautifully driven, great traction, but it's not over yet as they come down towards the first corner. He's actually made him. Is he going to try and get underneath him? He is. That is a great return. Can he get the brakes done? Yes, bleed off the brakes. Alex Lee's going to come through as well. Will he hip and shoulder him? No, he won't, but they're side by side, down the craters, up the gears. Is it going to be job done? Are the yellows still there? The yellows aren't there. They're still side by side. Bradley Kent bounces off the curb, nearly turns himself around. Isaac Smith on the grass, regains, takes the apex. Amazing racing. Wow.
How did he save that? Isaac Smith should have been off the road for sure there, but he saved it. He loses the place, but could have lost so much more. Bradley Kent through into third position. Smith down to fourth with Alex Lee now looking up the inside as they head towards McLean's. Adam Shepherd is a part of this battle as well. Jamie Tonks is off the old hair, but in other news, so yellow flags briefly back out at that part of the circuit. He will rejoin. I cannot begin to explain how perilous this situation is for Isaac Smith. As it stands, he would move back into the championship lead. If he ends up in the gravel, though, Paul, it was all for nothing.
Absolutely, and look, he's just got the worst people he could ever imagine behind him. He's got two of the fastest people on planet Earth in TCR, Alex Lee, Adam Shepherd. They're in your mirrors, mate. Don't look, keep looking ahead, because Brad Kent could get you towed out of this trouble. But we know what Alex Lee's like. He'll have a go here on the brakes, but Shepherd is now having a go at Alex Lee. The car's still oversteering on the brakes. Shepherd's got the overlap. Shepherd side by side, down the craters. Alex Lee on the inside, Shepherd on the outside, gets it done, has a little moment of bit of oversteer, gets the job done, and Isaac Smith looks in his mirrors and thinks, you carry on, boys, I'm up the road.
I don't think he'll be that happy to see Adam Shepherd behind him, though. Shepherd has been the fastest man at Donington Park. He's got the fastest lap in this race as well, and he is very, very likely to get ahead of the Golf before the race is over. 9 3/4 minutes of this sensational 13th round of the championship still to go. Let's not forget, by the way, Andy Wilmot is still leading the race, albeit now by a reduced margin. 2 seconds is his gap back to Jack Constable in second. Jack is then 3.5 ahead of Bradley Kent in third, and Isaac Smith somehow is still on the track and somehow is still in fourth position. But for how much longer? Shepherd is coming.
Amazing, and it just shows you, doesn't it, that all you need is a simple formula with no silly trickery, and you can have some of the best racing in the UK. Brilliant, brilliant stuff from these boys and girls here at Donington.
Shepherd looking to the inside, just trying to distract Isaac.
Oh.
More than anything, four-wheel drift into the braking zone for Adam Shepherd. That is something I've never seen before from a front-wheel drive touring car, but he hooks up the traction on the exit of the corner. It's an unorthodox setup on that Hyundai, but it is working.
It is working, and I just can't get my breath here. Isaac Smith doesn't need this. Shepherd down the inside. Oh, is he going to hit him? Oh. No, it's the closest overtake of the day. No contact. Brilliant stuff. Look at Alex Lee. Alex Lee wants a bit of this, but the job isn't done yet. And they're side by side banging door mirrors and doors. Oh, great stuff. That's brilliant.
Oh, no! Isaac Smith into the gravel trap. That was contact from Alex Lee, and Smith is in the gravel, and the claims, I do not believe it. Shepherd goes through. Lee goes through. Winfield as well. Can Smith get going? Yes, he can. But is there damage done to that Golf? That might just have cost him the championship lead. He gets going. The tracking seems okay. Damage to the left rear bodywork. That was nightmare scenario.
Absolute disaster, but it looks okay. The car looks straight. It doesn't look like it's tracking out. So let's hold our breath for Isaac Smith. But the rest of them clamber away like naughty school kids down the straight and down into Redgate. But unbelievable. Now, Bruce Winfield has come from absolutely nowhere. He's putting pressure on Alex Lee. And Shepherd's trying to get away into Redgate, and the cars are just oversteering everywhere. Replay for us on the screen. Down the inside goes Shepherd. Absolutely beautiful move. Thinks the job's done. They're still side by side. Isaac Smith doesn't want any of it. Closing in, though, is Alex Lee, and he comes round into McLean's. Little bit of contact, knocks sideways. Sideways into Smith was Shepherd because of contact from Alex Lee from behind. That was very unfortunate.
Nothing Isaac Smith did wrong there. Nothing he did wrong. He was trying his best to leave space. He'd left plenty of room at the old hairpin. On the outside line, there's contact from Lee into Shepherd. That tapped Shepherd. Second time that Adam Shepherd's been in an incident like that in this race. Remember, he was tapped into a slide that took Chris Smiley out, and he very nearly took the other championship contender out.
Am I seeing this right? As George Healer got ahead of Lewis, Trotter, and Tonks behind him, and now he must be up to 8th place.
He is.
He's up to 8th place in the Golf. The Paul Sheard Racing team must be outside themselves. The Golf is second ever sprint race, and he's left these boys for dead. He looks in his mirrors. He's got Darren Lewis in a Gen 1 Audi, and the boy is driving the race of his life. He won here at Donington on his own in the Brit Car race a couple of weeks back. This is astounding stuff. Go on, my man.
I can't quite believe any of what I'm seeing right now, quite frankly, but George Healer and Darren Lewis well inside the top 10. This is fantastic to see, and Neil Trotter as well, still running in 10th position with Jamie Tonks in 11th place. We have 6.25 minutes to go, and the next battle we need to watch could well be for the race lead, because Jack Constable's now only 1.2 seconds away from Andy Wilmot. Bruce Winfield is ahead of Alex Lee, is what I was trying to say. That's the 5th position. That's changed around now. Bruce, in all of the excitement, has flicked his indicator on. That won't be bothering him too much, though, because he can sniff the opportunity to get away now and at least make that 5th place his own. Would you like a points update, by the way, Paul? Because it makes for very interesting reading. As things stand, Isaac Smith would be 3 points behind Chris Smiley in the championship. That off at McLean's did cost him the lead. There would be just 3 points between them heading to Snetterton.
Wow, unbelievable. 5 minutes left of this race. This has been one of the better TCR UK races, and I still don't believe it's over. I still don't believe something else. There's something else up the sleeve of this race, I'm sure of it.
You don't know where to look, that's the problem. And the lead battle, I think, is where we need to focus, because that gap is coming down steadily by about 3/10 or so a lap. It's under a second now, Wilmot to Constable. Can Wilmot hang on? Oh, Brad Kent's been off the road, look. Now, this is the battle we need to watch. Then Brad Kent with a mistake at the old hairpin. Rejoined still in 3rd, but with Adam Shepherd right with him now.
Yeah, Shepherd's just capitalised on that, hasn't he? And Brad could lose a podium here. He just needs to regain his composure. Shepherd has been so oversteery. The rear of that car has just been unbelievable, but now it is a straight fight between those two Hyundais.
All right then, Brad Kent just needs to compose himself now. He's got a podium finish here in the offing. it is unbelievable to say that this would only be his second podium of the season. He did have a second place here on the GP circuit earlier on in the season, but that was about the only bit of good fortune that he'd had all year long. Across the line they go. Brad's car, I would say, is crabbing slightly there. It certainly doesn't look like it's tracking straight, and Adam Shepherd can sense blood in the water here. He knows he's faster, he knows his car is handling better, and he knows that third place is up for grabs.
Yeah, definitely, and it does look, doesn't it, like Shepherd's car has used its front tyres better. It's tighter whenever it turns in compared to Bradley's car, and debris on the track that Adam Shepherd hits there, and that car looks like it's got a lot more nose, a lot more front end, a lot more traction. This could be the battle of these last 4 minutes.
There's the lead gap, 0.8 of a second, only came down by a tenth that time, but Jack Constable has snatched the fastest lap now in his pursuit of Wilmot, and I think he's trying here, isn't he? Completely sideways as Adam Shepherd is on the outside of Brad Kent into Coppice Corner. Kent is sideways on the inside, he goes in way too deep, runs out wide, and that surely will be Shepherd emerging ahead. No, they're wheel to wheel as they come off Coppice Corner. Shepherd on the inside, Brad Kent on the outside. They're squeezing each other a little bit down the straight, door handle bashing. Brad Kent drawing his nose back ahead, but Shepherd's later on the brakes and gets back into a podium place with 3¼ minutes to go.
Absolutely beautifully timed that by Shepherd. He just knew when the door was going to open. Brad was quite clumsy across the curb. I don't think he had any option, actually. The curb just bounced him past the apex in the last phase of the corner, and that meant that Shepherd was able to get in there and get it done. Look at the traction of that car. He's just straighter with the steering wheel.
Steve Gales.
Oh, Steve Gales off and out. That's quite a hefty frontal impact, that. Is that at McLean's?
Yeah.
I can see him moving in the car. Yeah. I don't think that is as hard of an impact as I first thought. So hopefully there's going to be yellows out. There's yellows going out now at McLean's as some of the cars go through. So hopefully there's no fluid down. Shepherd goes through. Kent goes through. Winfield's still got his. I hope he doesn't turn left with that indicator on. Oh, Gales has actually got. Gales got out of the tyre wall, reversed her out. How strong are these TCR cars? They build them strong in Germany and Spain, don't they?
I'll tell you what. I noticed after the earlier race that all of the other drivers and teams they had engines out, they had suspension being changed, brake changes. Darren Lewis in his new Audi, they were polishing it. That's all they had to do with the Audi. And he'd been involved in some scrapes in that first race. There was not a hint of damage done to it. They built them strong, those Audis, as indeed they do all of these TCR cars. They're tough to kill, it seems. 1.4 seconds the lead margin, 2 laps to go, and Brad Kent's car is not looking happy, is it, Paul?
No, you called it right, mate. It's crabbing. It's crabbing. That steering down the straight will have a little degree of kink into it, and that will be scrubbing the speed off in a straight line. That will not help him out at all.
Andy Wilmot leading the race, 1.4 seconds the margin, bits of trim hanging off his car. I've no idea how that's happened, maybe on the tyre stack actually through the chicane, because he's one of the few drivers who hasn't had to go side by side with somebody. But your response there, Paul, is exactly what Wilmot's thinking inside the car. This is almost worse than being in a wheel-to-wheel scrap, because he's just watching that gap coming down slowly and slowly, about to start the final lap of the race. Can you even begin to describe the pressure he's feeling right now?
Yes, I can, and you can choke, and this is where we're going to find out. This will be now going on to the last lap where he will either win this race or choke, and I hope to everything in the world that Andy does not choke. This will be one of the best victories I've seen for somebody. This will be brilliant. Healer is still, I can't believe he's battling with Jamie Tonks. This is great stuff, it really is. Who's that going slow?
Isaac Smith, they're catching Isaac Smith, whose car surely is damaged after that whack. Now, is he going to lose more places here? Because George Healer and Jamie Tonks are both closing in on the 1-2-3 Golf with a lap to go here, Paul. I mean, Healer and Tonks aren't going to care about Smith's points here. They want the best result they can get, and it is clear that 1-2-3 Golf is wounded.
Oh, it's well wounded. Look at it down the straight. He's got a left rear problem. Is he going to get round Redgate? We're going to find out. Is it a front? Is it a puncher? It looks like a left rear is starting to go down. And Healer's going to get down the inside of him, is he? Oh, he's got to be careful here. He could. You've got to be careful when you're working with inexperienced people like George. You don't know if he's going to turn you round by accident, and it's no disrespect to George Healer. This is just one of his second ever sprint races. This is really, really difficult stuff. Tonks is going to be having a look. He could lose 2 places and have a nightmare end. But look at this, Wilmot.
Get in, Andy Wilmot. Out of the final chicane he comes. He is the 10th different winner of this remarkable season of TCR UK Racing. Now, what about the championship? George Healer is up the inside of Isaac Smith at Coppice Corner. Isaac has to fight this. He has to get his elbows out, but he could end up losing 2 places as a result. Healer is through as they come out of Coppice Corner. Jamie Tonks is going with him. Paul's about to have a heart attack, and I think so too is Isaac Smith, because this has been a disastrous end to the race that promised so much. He comes through the chicane, having lost 2 spots, but George Healer, in his 2nd ever TCR UK race, gets 7th on the last lap. What an incredible result from him and the Paul Sheard team. That is astonishing stuff, Paul.
That is nearly as good as Andy Wilmot winning the race. I tell you what, the Paul Sheard boys, Pep and everybody that's been down there helping him out. Charlie with his Dino, abusing people from Paul Sheard Racing. Absolutely amazing to see. Andy Wilmot, you are a hero, but George Healer, you are a boss man. Well done.
Yeah, we're going to have to drag Paul, kicking and screaming, out of the commentary box to go and get his interviews done. We've got to pick a driver of the day as well, Paul. Have a think about that while you're wandering down there. How on earth we pick that out of what we've just seen, I do not know. Andy Wilmot has just won his first ever TCR UK race. I can't wait to see this interview. This is going to be well worth sticking around for, everyone, because he's not the most animated of chaps, but he does wear his heart on his sleeve, and you know, motorsport can knock you down more than it lifts you up, and it's fair to say that Andy's had his fair share of knockdowns over the years, and this is going to be a really, really well-deserved moment of celebration for him and for the Jam Sport team, who have had a torrid weekend, a pretty torrid season really, and for Andy Wilmot to finally get them back to winning ways is going to be just the tonic that they needed. Right. I'm running out of breath. We've still got another Civic Cup race to do later on, but for TCR UK round number 13, it's a first victory in his career for Andy Wilmot, a 10th different winner from 13 races. That is remarkable. Jack Constable came home in 2nd place, Adam Shepherd in 3rd, ahead of Bradley Kent and Bruce Winfield. Alex Lee 6th, George Healer 7th. On the last lap, he and Jamie Tonks both getting past Isaac Smith. Now, worth mentioning, that becomes a dropped score for Isaac, so actually him losing those 2 places at the end didn't make any difference to his points. He will still score the same amount of points from that race as he would have done anyway. I'll get into that in a bit more detail in a moment or two. Darren Lewis rounded out the top 10 ahead of Neil Trotter, Russell Joyce, Chris Wallace, Mark Smith and Matthew Wilson, despite a heavy incident into the barriers at the Crater Curve. Still finished on the lead lap with Steve Gales 1 lap down. We lost Max Hart, Lewis Kent, Callum Newsham, Darryl Wilson, all out of the race in various incidents and mechanical issues. Chris Smiley as well. And Antwon Eales, we never really got the chance to mention this, but he lost control of the car as he accelerated off the line, which in a front-wheel drive car is unheard of, so something must have broken on the Jam Sport Subaru to put him out of the race. Right, did you get all of that? That was the most incredible race, and we get to do that twice more at Snetterton next time out. Now, looking at the point situation, like I said, Chris Smiley gets his 2nd 0-pointer of the season. Now, he was previous to that race, dropping 0 points from a race at Brands Hatch that he not finished, and 3 points from that first race at Donington earlier on in the season when he finished 14th. Remember when he had that contact with Adam Shepherd. So he now gains back those 3 points. Chris Smiley moves on to 315 points. Isaac Smith also now, that becomes a drop score for him. He will be on 312 with 86 points still remaining. 3 points between the top 2 in the championship. Right, I need a rest, Paul O'Neill. He is down there in Parc Ferme, ready to catch up with a very, very happy Andy Wilmot.
Right. That was one of the best races I have seen, and I've seen some good races in my time. Unbelievable to see. You speak to Andy Wilmot winning that race, and for me, you speak to him and he didn't look so confident. I'm going to get straight in there. He's taken his helmet off. Andy Wilmot, you stick your hat on, mate. You stick your hat on and give me a hug, mate, because that was one of the best things I have ever seen in my life, mate. Well done.
I don't know what to say. Did everyone else run out of fuel or something?
Nobody else could catch you, mate. And Jack Constable, for one, tried his hardest, bounced off the curbs. He couldn't get near you, mate. You were exceptional. I cannot believe it. And that is no disrespect to you, mate. That was just unreal.
I'm still speechless. Honestly, when I took off from the start, I thought, wow, no one else really got a good start. I need to try and hold this for at least a couple of laps. And everyone just fell back, and then Isaac fell off. Well, he didn't fall off, obviously, he had to come into the pits. Then when I saw Constable, I thought, hang on, that's Joyce. No, it can't be Joyce. He don't want that old man's trophy as much as I do. So, I saw him coming, I just thought, if he comes up, I'm just going to have to let him go because he's a lot faster, because I want to be on the podium. But yeah, I'm just so chuffed, and I'm so thankful for everyone that helped me get back on the grid. From last to first, I'm blown away.
One of the most amazing stories I've seen in a long time in motorsport, mate. I've got to give you a due. What does that do for your confidence?
It boosts it a lot. I'm not the most confident person, and I don't blow smoke up myself, trying to watch my manners. So yeah, it does increase it. It makes me believe that I can do it. I mean, I was really sceptical about the car because I was in the Seat, and the Seat here last year, I was in P3, and I thought, yeah, no, the Seat's for me because I can do it in the Seat. And I just thought I was too old for the Hyundai because it's quite a beast, and you really have to hang on to it. But yeah, it's just done me the world of good this weekend because, yeah, coming from the back to the front is just a massive, massive confidence boost.
Well, when you watch the commentary back, mate, you're going to hear a lot of banging and a lot of screaming, and that was me and Andy McEwen, because I think we can both agree, and Andy's probably watching, but you definitely are. Awards for driver of the day, mate. There's no doubt of that. Constable was P2. Jack is... Look at that. Look at that. That is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. Another cheer, please. Another cheer. Unbelievable stuff. Jack Constable, gotta say, mate, no disrespect to him, but that was amazing.
Yeah, fair play. Very consistent, very consistent. Couldn't catch him.
Absolutely not. I seen you have a proper go. You weren't hanging around. You bounced off a couple of curbs at Coppice, and that looked like it just unsettled the car, and that maybe was the chance to try and get on the back of him.
It's not the curb, it's the dust. So he'd flick the dust across the curb. I'd then get on the curb. I'd pick up the dust, and it just push.
You trying to say he knew what he was doing?
Yeah, definitely. Fair play to him. I would have done the same.
Absolutely unbelievable race, though. When you watch this back, if you do, it's probably one of the best touring car races I've seen. Amazing.
Yeah.
Honest to God, mate, yeah, it was amazing. So you were involved in that.
Thanks.
Let you go. Well done, mate. Absolutely unbelievable. Right, let's go and speak to Adam Shepherd. He was part of a lot of things that went on. A lot of speaking going on. Adam Shepherd, sorry, mate. Lot going on there. I can see behind you, actually, Isaac Smith's still in his car. He don't look like he wants to get out, because there was a few things that happened within that race that were by accident, I think, but it was pretty spicy and special, wasn't it? To be involved in, it must have been brilliant.
Yeah, it's. I took a big hit in turn 1, first lap, which I thought it was the end, and I just kept it straight. And then towards the end, Alex dived me and tagged my rear quarter, and that was quite a big hit again into Isaac. So I don't really know. I felt a bit beaten and bruised up then, but yeah, I'll have to watch it back and see what happened.
Your car looked very nervous, mate.
It was. I think the damage turn 1, whatever it's done, I think it's damaged something. Yeah, after turn 1, first lap, yeah, it was a bit of a handful.
Well, it looked like one of the best touring car races I've seen. I've just said that to the boys. It was absolutely brilliant. Well done, mate. You put on a real spectacle. Listen, I just want to do one more interview because this guy needs an interview. George Healer, who I was waxing lyrical about, and the reason why is because it's his second ever sprint race. Let me just have a quick word with him, because that was something special. One of the best things. That was one of the best races I've ever seen. Absolutely unbelievable. But just a quick one. I know you went on the podium, mate, but as good as Andy Wilmot's drive was for that win, that was something super special. How does it feel?
I'm just honestly delighted. Really, really pleased. I think just with all these better drivers around you, just lift your game up, and I'm super happy. So after Britcar last week, I think that almost tops it. So it's good. Really pleased.
Good man. Well, you're going to make me cry, so I'll let me crack on. Anyway, Andy, go back to you.
Yeah, it's been one of those afternoons, hasn't it, really? An emotional roller coaster here at Donington Park. And, yeah, Andy Wilmot, a very, very popular race winner. There's no doubt about it. He is such a character of the paddock. And to finally get him onto the top step of the podium. And in fairness, it's been coming for a little while. As certainly from Alton Park onwards, he really started to get to grips with the Hyundai, which he said himself he wasn't really happy with the feel of earlier on in the season. And to finally get that victory is remarkable. We have more racing coming up here from Donington Park still. The Miltech Sports Civic Cup will have all of the build-up for their reverse grid race. race, which will have to go some to live up to what we've just seen from the TCR boys and girls. And then a reminder that the final round of the TCR Championship, TCR UK Championship, will be on the 23rd of October. We're making you wait now for a while. We've set this fantastic championship fight up for the deciding 2 races on the Snetterton 200 circuit. We have to wait till the 23rd of October, unfortunately, to see all of the action. Before we leave you, though, just a quick update on the points. I mentioned that Smiley and Smith were now 3 points apart. What that race has done is brought Adam Shepherd and Bruce Winfield right into championship contention. There are 34 points covering the top 4 drivers, 33 points, sorry, covering the top 4 drivers in the championship, with 86 still up for grabs at Snetterton. So we have a genuine 4-way championship fight going to those final 2 rounds. You will not want to miss them. Right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here at Donington Park for TCR UK action. We've got more Civic Cup racing coming up later on today. But for now, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in a little while. On the track, Neil having absolutely none of it. Chris Smiley's Honda, and off goes the championship leader. Big drama for Smiley. Shepherd hanging on to the lead, but only just. The Audi loses 1 place, but tries to fight back as Constable's there as well. 3 wide, contact made. How they save that, I will never know.